The Chicago Bears have a new defensive coordinator, and his name is Eric Washington, coming over from the Buffalo Bills, where he previously was a defensive line coach. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, which I'll be doing anytime the Chicago Bears news going on this offseason. And I apologize, I'm a little bit late on this news. I was pretty busy yesterday when the news broke out, but this is a very solid hire for the Chicago Bears for their defense. Obviously, we know that Eberflus will continue to be calling plays, so he's going to be the main guy still in charge of the defense, but adding a guy with a lot of experience in the NFL, coaching up defensive linemen especially, okay? He's been a defensive line coach for the majority of his life as a coach. I think that makes a lot of sense because the Bears need to take another step forward on the defensive line next year, okay? The D-line definitely did take steps forward this year. They got a lot better this year as opposed to 2022, but now we want to take the jump into elite status, into top 10 status, and adding a guy that has developed a lot of great defensive linemen in this league, a guy that so many players in this league respect and look up to, I think is a home run hire for the Chicago Bears. Even though he's not going to be calling plays, he's going to be helping Eberflus come up with a defensive game plan, helping in developing different players, helping in coaching up the defense, helping in running drills. Like, it's still important to have a good DC as a defensive minded head coach because you can't do it all, okay? As a head coach, you're trying to lead the entire team, not only the defense. And without Alan Williams last year, at times it felt like Eberflus was only paying attention to the defense, but hiring a good DC can make his job a little bit easier as head coach. So let's take a look at his history and what he brings to the table for the Chicago Bears. So Eric Washington is 54 years old. He's been coaching since 1997, started out at college football at Texas A&M as an assistant coach, went to Ohio to be an assistant coach there. After that, he went to local college Northwestern to be a defensive line coach, and then he actually got noticed by the Bears with his good work there at Northwestern and joined the Chicago Bears as a defensive line assistant from 2008 to 2009, and then became the main defensive line coach in 2010, which was the last time the Bears won a playoff game. He helped coach up guys like Julius Peppers, Israel Adonje, Corey Wootton, and some other, pretty talented Bears back then under defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli, learning from one of the best. After that, he goes to the Carolina Panthers to join Ron Rivera's staff. When Ron Rivera gets the head coaching job with the Panthers, he's the defensive line coach there for a good amount of time. Then he gets promoted to being DC for 2 years there with the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, Ron Rivera is let go, so he's also out of a job then, but he gets a job very quickly with Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills being the defensive line coach there. Then he becomes a senior defensive assistant and defensive line coach, and last year he actually got a promotion to being assistant head coach and defensive line coach. That's how highly Sean McDermott thought of him to make him the assistant head coach. And the Buffalo Bills obviously had a fantastic pass rush last year, ranking 4th in the NFL in sacks. And now he's the defensive coordinator for our Chicago Bears. So a pretty long and extensive history. I do like all the success he's had coaching in this league. He's worked under a lot of successful defensive coordinators, defensive coaches, for example, Rod Marinelli, Lovie Smith, Ron Rivera, Sean McDermott, like a lot of people that know defense, he has learned under them, and he knows the inner workings of the 4-3 defense, the Tampa 2 scheme that we do run here a lot in Chicago, because he's worked there basically his entire life as a defensive line coach. And even though he doesn't have that much experience being the DC himself and calling plays himself, it doesn't matter because, as I mentioned, Eberflus, according to our knowledge, is going to be the main guy calling plays here in Chicago on the defensive side of the football with all the success he had down the stretch last year, making the Bears a top 10 defense in most categories aside from that bad showing against the Packers. But, the Packers offense even dominated the Cowboys defense in the playoffs and had a, good showing in the playoffs. So, the Bears defense was pretty good down the stretch last year, and, it made sense to hire a player developer and a defensive line specialist at DC to further develop these guys, these young guys that we have on the defense. Okay, I think that Gervon Dexter especially could benefit a lot from having a guy in the Eric Washington that knows how to coach you tough, that knows how to, have success with these young, on the rise defensive line players. I know Zach Pickens, maybe, he was pretty quiet sometimes last year, but maybe he could take a step forward in his development as well. I'm sure Montez Sweat is going to have a ball working with a guy like him, and there's a high chance that the Bears do add more pass rushers, more defensive linemen this offseason as well. So if we do draft a defensive lineman, a pass rusher at number 9 overall, if that's a Jared Verse, a Latu, whoever we get, if it's round 1, round 2, wherever, we're going to need a guy to develop these young players, and Eric Washington seems like the best guy to do that. A lot of his former players have had a lot of good things to say about him and the type of coach that he is. Even current free agent, actually, Brian Burns. Okay, the Carolina Panthers star pass rusher Brian Burns, who is going to be a free agent. I'm sure the Panthers probably are going to franchise tag him, so he probably won't be available. But it's pretty interesting that he really did love working with Eric Washington. I'll put the quote on the screen right now, but he said that he gets to know you before he coaches you because he wants to know how hard he can push you. He's got to know me, and I think that's why our bond is so tight, and that's why I'm able to learn. People think that coaching is just coaching. They don't understand that bond you have to have with the player to get that response. They don't really understand that. And contrasting that with our last DC, who seemed to not have a good bond with our players. I mean, our players did not even really fight for him when he was mysteriously let go or, retired, quote unquote. Like, we don't even know what happened with the Alan Williams situation, but it did not seem like the players respected him in the way that they respected a Matt Eberflus or, Eric Washington, his players, how they respect him. It did not seem like the same level of respect. So having a guy in here that players do respect, I think is a big, big deal. And some former Bears even had a lot of good things to say about him. Corey Wootton said that he was coached by him at Northwestern and again with the Bears in 2010. Love the hire, great person and coach. Excited for him to be back in Chicago as DC. Olin Kreutz also said that he's a good coach. Bears got better today, even though he didn't actually get coached up by him, obviously, but he was in the building with him when he was a coach. So it's pretty cool to see all these former players have a high level of respect for this person. It tells you the type of man and coach that Eric Washington actually is. And looking at his, successes as a defensive line coach and the actual production that was made under him as D-line coach, I'll put up this tweet by Jacob Infante, but he looked up the team ranking in sacks during the time that he actually was the defensive line coach or defensive coordinator during his various stints in the NFL. And you can see there's a lot of good here in these stats. Okay, multiple years of having a top 5 pass rush, a lot of years of having a borderline top 10 pass rush, a couple of bad years as well, like Carolina in 2018 was not good. Carolina in 2011 also was not good, but that's only a few years out of a long sample size, and his sample size is pretty big, and you can see that there's a lot of successes here. Okay, number 1 in 2013, number 6 in 2015, 2 in 2016, 3 in 2017. Recently with the Buffalo Bills, they had the 4th ranked pass rush in the NFL. They really were able to get after the quarterback, even with Von Miller becoming a no-show basically. Von Miller suffered a big injury, and unfortunately he was not able to really contribute that much this year. So there's a lot of proven successes here with Eric Washington. He knows how to coach up defensive linemen. He knows how to get the most out of each pass rush. I think it's going to be a tremendous asset to the Bears defense this upcoming year, helping Eberflus hopefully again, turn this defense into a top 10 defense, a top 5 defense for the entire season and not just only one half of the season. And hopefully we can have better performances against the Green Bay Packers as well, because as we know, the Packers seem to have hit it big again on their quarterback, and they have a really good coach as well in Matt LaFleur, so it's always going to be a challenge stopping that Packers offense. But leave a comments down below. What do you guys think about this hire? I think it's a pretty strong hire, and I'm pretty happy about the staff that Matt Eberflus is assembling now with the Chicago Bears in his second chance at assembling it. Okay, his first hires in Luke Getsy and Alan Williams were not really good hires, and I think that on paper, at least right now, the additions of Shane Waldron, a previously experienced OC, and Eric Washington, a very experienced defensive line coach, do make a lot of sense, and it makes me a lot more optimistic about the future than I was back when we made the Alan Williams and Luke Getsy hires. Leave your comments down below, guys. As always, bear down.